So Becky, what are you doing here in the wilderness?
Trying not to get
habitat.
hypothermia is what I'm doing.
I was sleeping in a shed over there, and then you showed up.
And then I turned up. We have the 600 F4 thanks to friend of the shop and the channel, Mark, who has loaned it to us for a day.
We have friends.
We do, believe it or not. We are going to be testing this out on the Z9, on the Z6. We're going to do some bird pictures, and hopefully we'll still be able to feel our fingers by the end of the day.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge though.
Yeah.
Wow, framing is hard.
It is hard, isn't it, with a long lens like that?
Well, it is hand-holdable as well for about 5 seconds.
How are you finding the VR?
It's very quiet, but you know what I've noticed? That a lot of the lenses on mirrorless cameras is quiet because it's engaged most of the time, because it has to work with the sensor on the camera, so you don't get this disengagement clunk that you normally get on DSLRs. So yeah, you pretty much, outdoors you won't hear it, indoors you probably won't use this lens anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's pretty darn sharp, even at that distance, with the teleconverter engaged. Very nice. We've tried the 600 both with and without the built-in teleconverter engaged. I've brought along our little friend, the TC 1.4. I'm going to add that and see what difference it makes. Can I feel my hands? No, I can't.
Do you have a shutter?
I do have a shutter guard, so actually I don't have to worry quite so much about it.
That's it, now.
Okay, let's go first without built-in teleconverter engaged. Oh,
Wonderful stuff, Becky.
let's see how we do. Yeah, I can definitely fill the frame with these guys now.
Now we tried the lens with that 9 and proved that this is the best setup you can get in the Nikon world. A lot of us ask us to compare it on the other bodies like Z6 and Z7. So I do have a Z6 here. So still here, still with us. So let's try it on that. What I really like about this setup is very well balanced. It's not front heavy at all.
Yeah, do you notice a significant weight difference with the Z6 over the Z9? Or is it all lens, really?
It's all lens.
Yeah.
You don't really feel Z6. I think with Z9, you definitely feel like there's a little bit of weight coming on one side. So, but here it's pretty much the weight is on the tripod collar. Now, what that will give you is when you actually focus in handheld, it might be a little bit more difficult to focus. So we do recommend you to try something like Wimberley head or Kirk head, so where the camera's on a tripod and you could swing it around when you're tracking the birds in the flight. However, you can also add the battery pack to the bottom. You know, that's another option. But overall, if you're stationary, you should be fine.
So you've got my Z6 there. So what focus mode are you going to use on the Z6?
Well, because we don't have all the fancy bird face recognition, etc., I'm going to stick it to autofocus continuous. And I will either use dynamic mode or wide large. And it's not really large, it's not covering the full area of the sensor. It's still kind of in the middle. And let's see what's going to happen.
How's your walkabout lens there, Con?
I'm a delicate flower. Well, I mean, it is hand holdable, but yeah, it's not exactly the light lens. Compared to the previous versions, definitely this is going to be quite a bit lighter than the F-mount version.
It's a huge difference.
And when you lift it up, you really don't realize that it's much lighter than it actually looks, because it is a chunky lens. But yeah, it's okay. It's not too awful. And if you don't carry a bunch of other stuff, like your video equipment and gimbals, then you should be fine.
Yeah.
Well, this is just in. Z6 is slower than Z9.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Even just regular focusing is much slower. I don't know what's happening, but it's exciting. Oh, here's some billion. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. All right, Becky, well, what are your thoughts so far?
My thoughts are so far that if you're going to do something like bird photography, the longest lens you can possibly get your hands on is really the way to go. We came to the Seven Oaks Wildlife and Nature Reserve once before with the 800mm, if you remember. And this, with the 1.4 converter and the built-in 1.4 converter engaged, is about a 1200 f8, not quite, but almost a 1200 f8 lens. And that is where it's at, I have to say. That's been my favorite combination so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's obviously it's a beautiful sport lens if you shoot outdoors. It's going to be a brilliant safari lens, and you know, built-in teleconverter. You can also add teleconverter to it on top of it, so you can get the distance you want. My advice there, obviously, when you choose an expensive lens, choose the focal distance that you think is gonna fit your needs. What you pay for, you get fantastic image quality and you get amazing speed of focus, and it will be really limited, I think, by your camera, and Z9 is pretty much the fastest camera in the world right now. So if you're spending so much money, just do your due diligence and choose the right focal length. You can't go wrong with any of the focal distances that Nikon is offering.
This lens features a removable rear filter which can be replaced with a CPL or circular polarizer. It's also got a manual focus ring, lens control ring, and function buttons. Before our final brain cells freeze, we're going to give you a conclusion.
It's a simple one. If you need this lens and you can afford one, this is the best 600 you can ever get. I mean, autofocus and image quality is superb, and that's pretty much what you need from this type of lens. It's also lighter than the previous generation, which is amazing.
Yeah, you definitely get more for your money than with the other 600s as well, because you also have the built-in teleconverter. So it makes it doubly versatile, and the fact that you can add the converters onto it in addition to the built-in teleconverter means that it can be a multi-use lens. It doesn't have to just be a fixed 600 for sports, or what else do you use it for? For sports?
Wildlife, safaris, birds,
for sports and wildlife.
you know, neighborhood watch. But let's think about alternatives. Obviously, there are cheaper options available. Nikon makes 400 and 800 cheaper versions, so 800 6.3 and 400 4.5. We hope that Nikon will also complete that trilogy with something like 600 millimeter, maybe 5.6, maybe 6.3.
Yeah.
At not a fraction of the cost, but at least a couple of times cheaper. So in the meantime, maybe have a look at those if you can't afford this one. But obviously, if this type of photography is your bread and butter, then you will look at it more as a business expense than anything else.
That's correct. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please give us a like and a subscribe if you did. If you'd like us to test out any other equipment, please put it in the comments below. We can't make any promises, but we will do our very best based on what we can get our hands on.
And final thank you to Mark for loaning us this lens. We really appreciate it.
We do. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Trying not to
my
get
habitat.
hypothermia is what I'm doing. I am not cold at all.
It's cold.
So cold.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Thanks to our coffee sponsor today, Constantine, who made the thermos with coffee takeaway. We definitely enjoyed filming it, since we're gonna take a 2 month break after this just to warm up.
It's going to take a hiatus to thaw out.